And you went driving down the road, and everyone lived happily ever after. Okay. So it's not as bad as I thought. Really, all it is to wire in the transmission controller is teeing into a couple wires and running your wires nice and neat and finding a nice place to mount your PCS. Now, it's a little daunting when you first get it because this roll of wire here, I've got digital input number 2 and digital input number 4 and brake lamp input and neutral safe. So I called Destroked and said, what the hell is this? And they said, don't worry about that. So on the front page, it actually says, the large bundle of unterminated wires will only be used for optional functions. So we're just gonna wire it up for now to make it shift. We're going to install the software into our laptop. We are going to calibrate it, tire size, when we want the torque converter to lock up, when we want it to shift, how hard and how soft we want it to shift, and then we'll take the customer for a test drive, and then if he wants, we can get into this, whatever these options do. I think they allow the tow haul button to work. They get the gauges to work. I love this on the transmission temperature. The factory gauge does not reflect actual transmission temperature. The gauge is a dummy gauge that acts functional even from factory. So ever notice how fast the transmission seems to warm up? This gauge only displays 2 conditions: cold to warm and replace the transmission clutches. And that's what Ford does to you. Gives you half the information and charges you 10 times as much. So yeah, we are gonna run this. All these are labeled very nicely. Laptop calibration connector, power live, ground. We've got our input and our output shaft, and we have our throttle position sensor, which I wired up to the throttle on the P-pump, your main connector that you plug into the transmission, and then that's it, your input and your output shaft. So I think pretty straightforward to wire this up. We'll start by mounting the controller and then running the loom and then firing it up, and here we go. All right, so we got to figure out where to mount this PCS, and I'm thinking right about here. It almost looks like it was meant to go there. When you need to access it, I'm going to put the wire for the laptop sticking out right beside the OBD reader, so it looks like it's factory. So I made this little bracket here, pretty simple. Just bent the lip to sit in this bracket here, and then also attached to the side. Drilled 4 holes, just tacked a screw at the back. I'm gonna drop my controller on it. One screw needs to be bent just a hair, like it was meant to be there. And I should just be able to close my cover there, and then run my loom right through here where it's protected. There, and then go nicely out the side there. So far it's pretty simple. Very happy with the installation so far. I got the PCS mounted nicely and securely behind the fuse panel cover. I've got one wire to hook up to power yet, and then I've got my roll of unterminated wires that are tucked in behind for now. I don't know if we're going to get into them or not. The only question I have so far is where the option connector and the CAN bus connector go. I'm not sure where they expect me to put that. Might have to call Destroked. Then in the back here, it's probably hard to see, a little too dark. There's a big black cover in the back there. I just cut a cross out of it and was able to stick my connector through, along with my TPS, which ends up right here through that connector, and then the main harness to the transmission goes down to the train. So we'll jack up the truck and take a look at that connector underneath there. So here we go. Pretty straightforward. Unplug your output shaft sensor at the very back, and then your input shaft sensor, which is just at the top there. See where, which is right there, up above your shifter cable. And then it's only one wire to tee into. It's the orange wire with the light blue stripe tied into the blue wire with the yellow stripe, and I imagine So the light blue of your old harness, the Ford harness, into the orange of the brand new harness. And I imagine that that is only because of the speedo. The engine's pretty well done. We got a few things to clean up. He teed the return line for the power steering and brakes, and the tee is no good. Pressure comes out of your pump, goes to your brakes. From there it goes to steering, and then what's left over goes to a cooler and then back to sump again. Teeing it somehow, he's not getting enough flow, and the steering is very jittery and doesn't work right, so we got to fix that. And he also put a different manifold on it that he bought from Destroked, but it's got no holder for these lines, so this isn't going to last because it's going to vibrate like shit and it's going to crack these boots or destroy a line, so we got to build a bracket to hold that up. This is actually extremely tight between the reservoir and this intake, so we're going to have to do something about that. I tried bending it up a bit, but it doesn't really work so well, so got to figure out that. Whether we got to drop the engine down just a hair, if there's room in the mounts. I'll talk to the customer about that. And we got a couple grounds that don't go anywhere, so we got to hook them up. I really like these posts with the top and the side posts because I can run my wiring with the fusible links in for the grid heater, and by putting these to power, the grid heater is working great. You can hear them click when they're supposed to. And that's about it. So we'll tidy up this corner here and put some loom around the rest, and away we go. The engine's all wired up. The transmission PCS is all wired up. We've got our screen on. It's not connected, and every time you turn the truck off, you have to exit the program and go back in again. It's kind of annoying, but whatever, it's fine. This is Destroked's plug and play standalone transmission controller, and it is exactly that. Plug and play couldn't be easier. You unplug the transmission, you plug in this one, you hook up your speedo, and then upload your program, do your adjustments, and you have a running, shifting, driving Ford truck. Perfect for this truck. It's a regular cab, long box, two-wheel drive work truck. It's not a show truck. It's already scratched and dinged and rusty in certain spots. He's going to use it as a work truck to keep his nice Dodge clean, and so he can use that one for his date night. This one is just a work truck. This, I would highly recommend the standalone controller for that reason. The issue you run into it with this plug and play is now the computer in the truck is not doing anything. It's really just starting the truck, and that's it. Like, this has just normal locks, crank windows, no options whatsoever. Doesn't even have cruise. So if you do have a nice truck, you're going to want all the lights on the dash off, and because the computer's not doing anything anymore, the tow haul button's flashing, the check gauges lights flashing, the engine lights on. So if you want those off, it's a very complicated system of opening up the wiring harness, finding the corresponding wires that you have to tee into so that you can take that old wiring harness that you unplugged from the transmission and give the signals that the computer needs again to turn those lights off. Now, I haven't used DCS's, diesel conversion specialist transmission controllers. To my understanding, they don't use standalone controllers anymore. I didn't do one, but the shop I used to work at did, and there was a video we did on their F350 that they did a 5.9 in. And we had to take that video down pretty quick because he fixes power strokes all the time, but it's kind of embarrassing that the shop puts Cummins in their own truck, but yet fixes the power strokes because there's good money in that. That's how Ford stayed out of bankruptcy, having their customers give them $5 grand every year to keep their power stroke running. But anyway, to my understanding, they were having too many issues with the standalone controllers, and Ford likes to change up their transmissions all the time. It just didn't make sense anymore. Now what they do is upload a program into the TCU, the transmission controller, and just tell it to shift. And by doing that, you do two things really. You can't control anything, you can't change any of the parameters, but that also allows you to not screw anything up massive, like locking up two gears at the same time. You upload the program, take it for a drive, take a snapshot of it, send it back to DCS, they make their adjustments, they send it back, and you can do that as many times as you want. And when it's running nice, you leave it alone until you run into an issue maybe later, and they can diagnose it over the internet, and you're done. So that's one way of going about it. This is much easier, I guess. I don't like lights on my dash. I don't care, like, we don't care about this truck because it's just a work truck. So I would have probably still done a standalone controller for this, as long as we don't run into any issues going down the road, which is what we're gonna do now. I had the truck up on the air. It was shifting through all the gears. It was a little bit hard shift, but could be just because there's no load on the tires. So we're gonna take it down the road, see what happens, and then go from there. So here we go. That was a pretty hard shift. We'll have to slow that down a bit. Should have taken the plastic out of the back. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you love the channel, consider heading over to Patreon. There's a lot of stuff happening there to help support the channel. And remember, if you're not filthy, you're not rich.